old and proud of you. Forget about the tears on the level. See me eye to eye. Stand up like a man, even from the other side. On the level.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and this is another headline show.
Josh Pierce is visiting family, so we're moving him to after Camp Mograph Australia.
Yes.
Next week, there will not be a show because Camp Mograph Australia is going on. So we got a great show for you today. Make sure you follow us on all the things, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram for show clips and other gems. And make sure you check out the Mograph Slack and the Discord so you can chat and hang out with people. And make sure you check out mograph.com. Make sure you check out mograph.com/TV as well so you can watch 24/7. We're on there right now. If you just go check it out, you know. And one of the reasons we're able to bring you this show is because of our sponsor, Otoy. They're the makers of Octane Render and the Render Network. They're Mograph's universal sponsor and great friends of ours. I think we should have Jules back on the show fairly soon, maybe sometime after SIGGRAPH, which SIGGRAPH is coming up. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of announcements. So check them out with the Octane Render and Render Network. You can make beautiful renders and render them quickly. Just go to otoy.com and thank them for helping to make our show possible. So.
Totally.
We have a poll from last week that we're going to follow up on. And the question was, will you cancel your account on platforms that scrape for AI? And this is a fairly interesting result here.
Yeah.
43% said, yes, I will. 0% said no. And 57% said not sure. So very uncertain, which is, I think, interesting. It's like people are... It seems to me that people are either fairly decided, like absolutely not, or they just don't know what's going on and just start feeling it out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have fully determined that they just don't care, because I think everyone cares just a little bit, you know.
Of course, but they're
so.
Just, I mean, exactly what the poll says, right? They're uncertain. They don't know where this is going. And I still see people that are like upset about it, even after last week. Obviously, not all of these people have watched our show, but I see people online, TikToks and things talking about how, well, you know, they're just covering themselves, you know, trying to cover up the fact after the fact. And I'm like, I don't know if they are. I think that these companies get way, way, way too wrapped up in the legal and the lawyer speak and everything else, so much so that they forget about the people who made them who they are. I think that's important. And
one thing I think it is funny, if you look at Adobe's stock, like not Adobe stock, but their actual stock price over the past week or something, like, you know, their stock has slowly been going down over the past like year or so, you know, let's see, maybe since the beginning of the year. And then like all this stuff happened and it really started going down. And then all of a sudden it just shot back up 10% in one day. It's like, I think it's like that 15-day news cycle thing where everyone starts getting upset about something and then, okay, it's about to die down. No one's talking about it anymore. Let's ramp back up and buy more Adobe stock because now it's at a discount.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where that goes. I hope they do the right thing. I hope that this AI stuff kind of evens out a little bit. But I promise we don't have that much AI stuff this week. We only have one AI headline this week.
Yeah.
So let's. You have something else before we get to headlines?
I was just gonna say on the subject of AI, it's been making my life so much easier.
Oh, I know.
Like just these, and it's crazy. It's just these random little AI things. Like, this week alone, I used Runway ML for rotoscoping. I used Magnific AI for adding more detail to like images and stuff like that were created from Midjourney, right? And then also use Topaz AI in order to slow down video footage. Like, it's pretty crazy when you have this many tools at your disposal now. It's like, oh my gosh, like, slowing down footage. It's like I looked at Twixtor, how much Twixtor was going to be, right? And it was like $500. I was like, man, that's expensive. Oh wait, I have Topaz AI. I can just slow it down there and up-res it at the same time. And it's like the rotoscoping stuff with Runway ML is just incredible.
It's the scariness of the word AI, right? Like, think about how long Twixtor has been around, right? And let's say we didn't call it AI. Let's just say, let's take the art part out of it. Let's just talk about the utility of AI, right? Like we were talking about last week, why can't they just build this rotoscoping stuff and keyframing, auto keyframing, and all this stuff right into After Effects? Now, think about if the AI slow-mo stuff that you did wasn't called AI, because all it is upgraded technology. And say Twixtor all of a sudden had that ability, you wouldn't blink twice. You would just say, oh, look, it's better now because the technology is better. That's the only way you would look at it. It's the, scary AI. What's
really interesting is I was looking for an AI option to rotoscope some of this footage. And so I looked on AE scripts, and there was this one that's like, okay, it's used machine learning. You have to actually download the whole database of it in order to get it. And I tried it within 3 seconds, knew it was not going to work at all, right? And then you throw the same thing in like Runway ML, and it's like, got it, no problem.
It's a lot of hit or miss.
So it's
Runway
like
ML might not work.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, what's interesting is depending on the AI model that they're using, the machine learning that they used, it's like some tools are going to work and some tools aren't, and I think people want to like just generally put this under a blanket AI type, platform or something, when in fact it's all different machine learning. All of it is different. They're all learning off of different things. Well, a lot of them are,
It depends. Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. It actually kind of makes me excited for the future for like Adobe or Maxon or Red Giant or whatever to incorporate a lot of this stuff. Like, when we talk about the Houdini stuff later, they have built in some AI stuff into the materials, which is just fantastic.
Which is just another word for new technology.
Yep.
That's really all it is. Take the word AI out of it. It's just an upgrade.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. Like,
I'd love to talk
Adapt
to
or die.
Like an old boomer who was around when computers were first being, invented or whatever, and like talk to them and see how scared they were about the future and how computers are going to take over. They're going to take our jobs,
This thing color picks the green from my green screen automatically.
Right.
I don't have to like dial in the knobs. It's going to take my job.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's just how it is. All right, let's go to headlines. How about that? All right, let's talk about Octane first. This is just a quick headline. The Octane 2024.1 Beta 2 is now out. There's release highlights for this, including various bug fixes. It has some enhanced render performance for Mac OS, I think, especially.
I was getting crashes anytime I would open up Cinema in and have Octane as my default. It would just crash every time.
Are you using the beta?
So Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm never actually on a stable release, which is probably the worst idea ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been on 2024.1. I think the first beta for a while. That was the first one that allowed me to render across network and stuff. And now my Mac is my main machine now.
There's also updates like including, how like there'll be like non-moving scenes with multiple frames, like where certain aspects of it don't move. It's fixed a lot of that for Mac OS. Additional UV sets and bump mapping, a bunch of new blend modes for AOV layers, like crazy amounts of blend modes. I think there's some animated VDB fixes for, I think, specifically Mac. But what I think, though, because I use the stable version, is that 2023 has been incredibly stable for me. I've been using the latest version of almost latest version of 2023, and I feel like 2022, or maybe the very first version of 2023, was giving me a lot of crashes in combination with Cinema 4D. I don't think it was like 100% Octane. It was a combination of things, right? And I really feel like it's been stable. I actually had a crash the other day, and I was like, wow, that's rare. Like, I actually haven't crashed in a while. So when you get a crash and it's a surprise to you, that's always a good sign. And actually, I'm going to be releasing some shots of a project that I just finished for Zephyr Gin. Maybe not this week, but next week, once I have some time. There's a commercial and some social media stuff that's going out. And my goal was to do everything in camera. I think I did everything in camera except I had some fumes coming off a fire, and I used a little bit of Red Giant on. Everything else in camera,
That's cool.
Sean Astrom, AI sucks. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Get used to it, though.
Yeah.
It's you got to figure out how to work it into your
I wish
workload,
they would. I wish they would get rid of the AI thing.
The moniker. I know.
They gotta rebrand it. How
about just calling it upgrades in technology? I'm telling you, it'll be less scary. The thing people are upset about is the art part. I do understand that. But if we just take that out of it for a minute and pretend that doesn't exist, it's just upgrades. In all these different platforms, including Houdini. Speaking of which, Houdini.
So there was a new preview of Houdini 20.5 that was put out this past week. They're actually doing the big keynote presentation in Paris tomorrow, June 18th. So if you're around, watch it. It's going to be really, really awesome. Some really cool upgrades like material point method solvers for particles and stuff.
Like
these particle stuffs. Dave, I don't know if you can actually go back to the beginning of this video. If you reload it, will it?
It'll start over.
Yeah. But some of the stuff that they're showing off with snow and mud and the mixture of sand and mud together. Oh, it was so cool. I think the stuff the side effects crew, I think, are just fantastic. They're doing amazing work. I wish I had the brain that worked with Houdini. It does a little bit, but not a lot. But they've also got procedural crowd generation for Karma and Hydra delegates. This type of stuff is so rad. They've got a new art. Yeah, right. You could do that in Houdini now, but then you've got the RBD car rig with path animations. So they've actually got a car rig that will adjust how much stuff is happening,
suspension and all that.
Yeah, the suspension and stuff like that. This right here is the material point method solver for particles. So it's I guess it's using a material in order to solve where the particles are or not.
Oh,
it's
that
super
mud,
cool.
That freaking
mud. That mud.
Yeah,
just
I
wait,
saw that earlier.
These two mixtures
so
together,
crazy.
I think, are incredible. That is cool stuff right there.
This is the kind of thing, though, that if you are gonna get into it, you're really gonna get it. Like it is a full-time thing. Like I just don't see. I mean, maybe there are some geniuses out there, but I don't see that many generalists that would be able to do all of this stuff.
Right. I agree. I could do almost everything except for those the particle like mix stuff. Like some of this stuff I could do, Anyway. Let's see. That's the RBD car rig with path animations, which is pretty cool. So you can like create a path and make the car go along that, which is cool. In 2020, they actually introduced new sculpting tools for Houdini, which I thought was awesome. And they just added a new like a wrinkle deformer node, which is cool. So like you can create real-time wrinkles and stuff like that on your stuff. Then another big one. So the more I watched it, the more I noticed it seemed really heavily into like material creation and stuff like that. So like they've got live material painting and non-destructive texture design. Like the layout of it looks exactly like Substance Designer, So it's like you can work in a very Substance Designer linear node fashion where you've got like the little squares and the previews and stuff like that in order to create these new textures. They've also got a quick texture now where it's like you just throw down a quick texture and it's got all of your assets right there where you don't need to pipe in a whole bunch of nodes and stuff like that. Something basic like you want to make some gold and you don't actually have any assets that go with it. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty cool. They've also added non-photorealistic and toon shading of geometry and volumes, which is pretty cool. Up here a little ways in the video, they show off like this actual fire from like a burner, like a stove burner or something, and they created like this toon shader effect, and it looks freaking awesome. Like it's really cool to be able to work natively because they've got their Karma XPU or whatever instead of having to work in like Redshift. Like Redshift just introduced their
bird, man.
That is something that I really appreciate about Houdini. And that and their like the way they show off like their work, versus some of the other DCC where it's like, oh, here's a new feature and they just show like a crappy,
or they just show the tool and no sneak peek. Like,
exactly.
They get these
like,
artists
they'll show
that
the
are
tool,
fantastic.
But it's like this isn't like a use case in which you would do it or something. This is just what the tool does,
But they get artists to show these things off in the preview ahead of time, and it's so like it gets you so much more excited about that tool, right? Rather than just 100%. This is just a test on a background. Like show something really impressive so that people really get excited about it. That's what sells.
Yeah,
100%. And then for them to do that on top of everything else, they come out with like friggin' 10 tools that are amazing at the same time. So it's like 10x. It's like shut up and take my money, right? But then on the other end of that, it's like shut up and take my money, and then I'll give you the money, and then I'll never have time to learn all of this stuff.
Right.
To be 18 years old with nothing to do.
I wish, if only.
Yeah, that's a lot of
one last thing that I've got on the list is Onyx reference node. I've never used Onyx AI or anything like that, but they've got a reference node for like image-based machine learning, like style transfers. So you can take like a video or like an image or something and then transfer a specific style to it, for your materials or something like that, which I think is awesome. Like I'm really excited about that type of stuff. I think that will add a whole lot of coolness to it.
Yeah. So tomorrow, the 18th, we'll see. I'm sure they'll show even more stuff tomorrow. They're probably holding off on some. They probably haven't even shown the best stuff yet.
Yeah. I think, because I think they're trying to get a lot of people over to the, the Karma XPU type stuff. And a lot of people I know are using it instead of like using a third-party render engine like, Redshift or whatever, because it's pretty freaking developed and it looks really good.
For just development, or they're using it for final product?
Using it for final product, yeah. Like, I know, I want to say, I don't know. I was talking to Houdini Mark a while ago about it, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really really good." You know, like, uh, and then I've heard some people say that Redshift used to be like the thing, for Houdini. Like it was the most stable, and it has since not become.
Well,
So,
it seems like they really want to have their own engine. I mean, I know they allow
yes.
Octane and everything else, but they're really striving for their own. I don't know. That's what it seems like anyway. It just depends on what your end goal is and what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
I mean, most people I know who do Houdini stuff, it seems like they take that into cinema or something else. So it doesn't matter anyway. So they're going back to their native engine, whatever that is.
Yeah. I know Mark was saying the last time we spoke that he was trying less and less to actually bring it back into cinema and do everything in Houdini because and I have this issue when I'm working in Unreal as well. It's like you're exporting huge Alembic files.
Yeah.
You have to export Alembic files over and then bring them back, more stuff, and it just becomes cumbersome. And if you're working in a small space like you and I are, and you're limited to how much hard drive space you don't have these huge, NAS servers or server farms or whatever. It's like, I need as much space as I possibly can.
The caches and the Alembics are what gets you big time. And if you don't have Dropbox or something, you can dump them on. That's the only saving grace for me whenever I have a big cache file or something. It's like, here's a 150 gig cache file. It's like, well, I really don't want to delete it. I'm done with the project, but I don't want to delete it. But what do I do with it? And so I just right click and say save offline just in case, in Dropbox or something like that. So, I don't know. All right. Let's talk about drones a little bit. So, this is a weird story. The Countering CCP Drones Act has successfully advanced through the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which aims to revoke all FCC authorizations for DJI drones, which I don't understand. I don't even understand how that's possible, how you could do that. But this would effectively ban DJI drones from transmitting radio frequencies, impacting both recreational users and professionals.
It's just ridiculous to me. I don't even think. And you're saying it passed the House. It passed the House, and now it's on to the Senate. Is that what it is?
It passed the House Commerce Committee.
Oh, that's nothing.
That means that it's on its way.
Okay.
To be voted on.
I see where the anger is coming from, but I do not have enough faith in our in our Congress in order to pass anything. So what happened was you probably got a bunch of people who were up in arms about these being made in China. They're like, let's get rid of them. They can probably tap into it because I don't know how technology works because I'm 8,000 years old.
I'll explain it to you here. And here's the problem is that when it comes to this China stuff, quote unquote, look what happened with TikTok. It becomes bipartisan for some reason all of a sudden when it has to do with China. And the argument is that these DJI drones could be used for espionage, meaning collecting sensitive data like high-resolution images and flight logs, which could potentially be accessed by the Chinese government. Like it couldn't have been done by anyone else before. Like it can't be done by any drone that exists. Like it couldn't be done. It's like, and the argument here is, we're not banning them. We're merely just completely disabling the way that they work altogether. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Like you couldn't get an American-made drone and fly it around and get high-resolution images. Also, could we talk about the fact that satellites exist?
Yeah.
Right? You can get satellite imagery down to, who knows, an inch or something from outer space, And nothing is stopping any Chinese satellite from taking a photo of the U.S. It happens all the time. I mean, look at the freaking balloon things that we've
I was going to say,
down.
wasn't there like a balloon thing that went over the U.S. like years ago?
Right.
That we had to shoot down?
But it also has to do with they think that something could be just switched on all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, you know, all these drones are spying on us. It's like, you realize that everything is made in China, right? You realize that the microphones and okay, the DJI microphone is going to be banned now because they can turn it on and listen to us. Like, how far are we going to take this? Foxconn makes the chips that go inside of our iPhones. Are we going to ban iPhones too? Like, it's just complete insanity, in my opinion. And the fear is that they're gonna, you know, check out critical infrastructure in certain areas. It's like, that can be done with any drone. It doesn't make sense. And you're saying, oh, this is national security. I just don't understand it. And people are saying, we want our money back.
Yeah.
You know how many DJI drones I've had? That's all I've ever had are DJI drones.
I know.
From the beginning.
Because have you ever bought another drone? They're crap.
They are crap. That's the problem, is that the ones that are good and have the most innovation in them are the DJI drones. They're and the other ones are more expensive and less reliable. And it just doesn't make sense. What are they going to do? The thing's not going to take off in the air from your house by itself and go. It doesn't make sense. What is it going to get? If the most information they could get, which they have because they keep track of the logs in your account, is where the thing's been, you know? And don't tell me that it's uploading a bunch of high-resolution imagery, because how is it doing that? It's got to save it. It's got to save this stuff on these giant cards. It's not transmitting it back through your phone. You would see that happening. There's no way that
if anything, I would think that, you know, instead of... It's one of those burn it to the ground because I don't understand it type things versus maybe passing some sort. Maybe the FAA should create some laws to where like it keeps drones from like going. I know you can't go in specific areas or something. It gives you
does that.
Like a little. Yeah, exactly. Like. But can you still fly it in that area?
You cannot. It will not allow you. If you are in a regulated area, like I was at a park one time and it was too close to the airport, and I went to start the thing up, it wouldn't let me take off. It's already doing that.
Yeah. I mean, just like if you're so worried about critical infrastructure and stuff like that, maybe don't allow drones there. Just update the maps.
Well, that
seems
what I'm
that
saying.
Easy.
Just have the FAA say, no, you're not allowed to fly there. Problem solved.
Yep.
Because they can see the stupid thing in the air anyway. It absolutely makes no sense. And the bill, it's awaiting consideration by the full House of Representatives, and it's got bipartisan support. And they're just saying, oh, China's scary. That's, you know what? Everything's made in China. I don't understand. Make sense to me.
I think the House relies very much on the Senate. I think the Senate and the House have this relationship where they're like, we need some sort of something in order to like get people's minds off of stuff. So we're going to pass something ridiculous. Hey, Senate, don't worry about that. just ignore that. You know, it's not important.
The TikTok ban, they don't care about 7 million small businesses that you know, rely on TikTok to run.
What they want is
money.
They want control. They want that to be sold off to an American company.
Right.
You know, because, you know, if you have an American company like Facebook or Twitter, the U.S. government can go to them and say, hey, give us all the information.
Well, if you want to get real conspiracy theorists about it, you can say, yeah, we want a U.S.-based drone company where we can mine the data instead. Right.
100%.
It just makes absolutely no sense to me. And, you know, so if they don't care about 7 million small businesses going out of business with TikTok, they're not going to care that you spent $1,000 on a drone. They're not going to care.
Did you see the response from ByteDance or whatever about TikTok? They're like, we're not selling it. We'll just let it fail. Like, because TikTok, from what I understand, it doesn't actually
that.
make them a lot of money, if any at all. They just lose money, and they're
They
like,
make billions
that's
of
fine.
dollars in the U.S. I don't know where that's coming from.
It's like they basically said, oh, that's fine. If you want to shut it down, shut it down. We're not selling it to an American company. We're not going to sell it off. We will just close it down.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I mean, they already Biden already signed the bill. They've gotten until like the end of the year, basically, to
they have 12 months, and the problem is it's going to get all of a sudden wrapped. Yeah, it's going to get wrapped up inside of litigation and all sorts of other things. I don't think it's actually going to happen. I really don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it getting wrapped up in litigation.
So we're going to go to this week's poll, which is mograph.com/weekly poll. Should the U.S. have the right to ban DJI despite them having millions of existing customers? I'm pretty sure it's millions. It might be thousands. I might be wrong with that. Despite them having many customers, we'll just say that. I have voted already, and so I put my no in there.
They can do whatever they want. The government can do whatever they want.
Well, not anything they want.
They can do anything they want.
Yeah, kind of. But we'll come back to this poll later, so make sure...
Unless it helps the American people. Then they can't do that.
Then we can't do that. That costs extra. So we're going to come back to that. Mograph.com/weekly poll. This is going to be up active all week for podcast listeners. So if you just go to that, or again, I'll bring this up one more time. You can scan the QR code right now and vote and let us know what you think. And we're going to come back next week and we will follow up on that and let you know what everybody thought. I think it's sucky. I think it's sucky that that's what we're concerned with right now. We got all this other stuff going on.
I see a lot of these news articles, and I think some of them are they're just clickbait, right? For example, we've spent 15 minutes talking about
but
this
it's a real
one
thing.
It is a real thing, yeah. But it's just to get our mind off of something else. What other big thing is happening, that could be deterring us from focusing on that?
I don't know. There's just so much noise anyway. I don't know. I mean, there are people actively spending their days and their time doing this. It's not like the only reason they're doing it is just to get some headlines clicked on. There are people pushing this and spending a lot of time trying to get it passed. So what their agenda is, we'll never know. We just won't. All right, we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Sashia Dumont. I'm a writer, actor, and filmmaker.
Hi, my name is Paul Robinson. I'm a director, DP, and filmmaker. We are the creators and hosts of the Go Gorilla Filmcast, an online source for all things indie film.
We are a husband and wife film team and co-owners of Send 3 Productions, and we started this podcast for filmmakers like ourselves who were producing on micro budgets with skeleton crews.
Go Gorilla is a weekly podcast that features various talents in TV, film, and web series productions.
We've interviewed filmmaker powerhouses like Kestram Pantera,
Richard Raymond,
Alex Ferrari,
Cassandra Ebner,
and Ryan Connolly. Amazing actors like Hannah Ward,
Lou Taylor Pucci,
Chris Wataski,
and Eileen Gruba.
Groundbreaking cinematographers like Jody Lee Lipes,
and Jessica Lee Gagné, and many more.
We also offer weekly reviews of our favorite films and shows, which vary from low-budget first-time filmmakers to A-listers and everyone in between. Go Gorilla is proud to announce that we have officially joined the Mograph Podcast Network.
So if you love filmmaking as much as we do,
tune in every Sunday for a new episode of the Go Gorilla Filmcast, your source for all things indie film. Now available on the Mograph Podcast Network.
It's just one more reminder. Go to that poll, mograph.com/weekly poll. We're going to check in on that. We got 2 more headlines, and we're going to check in and see what everybody thinks, and then we'll check in again next week. Now, this Thursday, you're leaving for camp, right? Thursday?
So this Thursday, yes, me and EJ. So Mark leaves for camp on Thursday. Me and EJ leave for LA. We're going to be in LA that morning. We're staying that night, and then we're flying from LA to Brisbane. So if you're in the LA area and want to hang out Thursday night or Friday afternoon, that'd be rad. Be super cool. I should hit up Jules and go say hi to Jules while I'm there. That'd be fun.
I think I spelled Australia wrong.
Did you?
Yeah.
Australia. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, so we're making my way.
No, I didn't.
Out to Australia, which is going to be a lot of fun. And so, yeah, super excited. Camp Mograph Australia is like basically is it a week? It's a week and a half. So we'll be there this weekend, getting ready, getting prepped and everything. Campers start coming in. We've got our staff coming in on the 26th, and then everyone else coming in on the 27th. If you're in Australia and you didn't grab a ticket, we've got a couple people who are looking to sell their tickets. Feel free to contact us, info at campmograph.com, and we'll get that set up. Or if you know someone who is looking to grab a ticket or something, hit us up, info at campmograph.com, and we'll get that worked out. But yeah, we're super duper excited. One big thing I want to say to all the Australian campers, if you're planning on using the shuttle, and this could go for US campers as well, make sure you sign up for the shuttle. We need to have those numbers for our drivers and stuff like that. And you can do that in your camper portal. If you don't remember where the camper portal is or whatever, just email us, info at campmograph.com, or look back at your ticket that you got, like the confirmation. It should give all that information in there. But I am very, very excited about.
Well, if you're very,
I'm very. I'm excited about going to camp in Australia. It's going to be a whole new experience. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm excited to see how the Australia market feels about camp. And it's one of those things where you say you don't know how cool camp is until after you go.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And what's fun is I know a few Americans. You know, we've got quite a few Americans coming to the camp as well, especially previous other campers and stuff like that, which is really cool. Also, we're gonna get that sweet Camp Mograph Brisbane t-shirt, and only I'm gonna go to camp this year in the US wearing that Brisbane one, and everyone who's been to all the other Camp Mographs but not that one is gonna be super jealous. Very excited about that. I'll have to bring you one, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. I can pretend I went.
So but yeah, big shout out to all of the Camp Mograph Australia sponsors. Without this, we couldn't have done this at all without the Camp Mograph sponsors. They help bring the tickets down.
You didn't put Mograph on there, but
Yeah, Mograph. So Mograph is we're the universal sponsor, the global sponsor for Camp Mograph. So Mograph.com presents Camp Mograph.
Australia.
Australia, yes. Yeah. So big shout out to our sponsors for Australia, Otoy and Maxon. You'll be staying in one of those two villages, as well as Plug in Everything, Smush Workstations, Stash Magazine, Hello Lux, and Rev.
Smoosh?
Yes. Smoosh. Smush.
Smushed.
Smush.
Smushed.
Like bush. Smush. Smush.
Smush.
Yeah.
Smoosh.
Yeah.
Smushed.
So big shout out to all of them. Thank them. If you're coming to camp, make sure and give them a shout out. I know we'll have representatives from all of them going to be there. Matthias from Axon is going to be there, so he's going to be hanging out as well. And then we've got Tim's going to be there from Hello Lux. We're going to party like crazy with Tim.
Boy.
That's going to be fun. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then big shout out to all of our Chicago sponsors. Thanks so much. Camp Mograph Chicago is still coming up. If you're on the wait list, we did have one person who wasn't able to go. Just if you still want to go, just make sure you're on the wait list. We may have some extra tickets that we will find, especially closer to the event. We always have some people who are like, oh, I can't go. Can you put someone on the wait list? So just be ready. If you're on that wait list, we may be able to push one out to you. So Big shout out to all of our sponsors for Camp Mograph US. Our global sponsor, Otoy. Thank you so much. Otoy presents Camp Mograph 2024. Super excited to have them on board. And then we've got Maxon and Sony, Grayscale Gorilla, Motion Hatch, and Stash Magazine. So thanks to all of our amazing sponsors for helping keep the price of tickets down so that everyone could afford to have a good time and get some pretty sweet swag and meet some amazing people. So thank you so much, Camp Mograph, and everyone. Looking forward to seeing everyone in the next week and a half.
Man.
It's going to be crazy.
Wow.
I'm hoping that my circadian rhythm is going to be ready, because I get there, we leave Friday. We get there Sunday morning at like 5 a.m., but we're flying at night. So I'm hoping that because it's going to be 9:30 LA time when we leave PM, which is like 11:30 Dallas time, so I'm hoping that I'm just going to be exhausted, and be like, all right, I got my window seat. I'm just going to put on my chin strap thing and hopefully sleep for
Your
5 or
chin
6
strap
hours.
thing. What chin strap thing?
Yeah, the thing that goes, the neck brace.
The neck brace.
Yeah,
Okay.
the neck brace
I was
thing.
like, what chin strap?
I couldn't think of the word
What
neck
kinda-
brace.
They hook you into something on the plane or something.
It's going to be a packed flight too. It's going to be
really?
yeah. Red
That
wine
doesn't
and
sound-
sleeping pills were his trick.
For who?
I'll bring
who?
some of my. That's what Jen Van Horn
Jen's
was
dad.
saying.
Mm.
Yeah.
Red wine and sleeping pills. Yikes.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring one of my anti-anxiety pills. Take that right before the flight.
Probably need to put you out.
The hard
yeah.
part is it's even if I my sleep schedule, if I sleep too much, I'm just gonna be wasted, right? So it's almost like I need to stay up because it's a 14.5-hour flight. If I go to bed right then, I'm gonna sleep for even if I get 8 hours of sleep,
Right.
I still have another 6 hours of flying.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be 5 a.m. by the time I get there. It's I need to stay up for at least, 7 hours of the flight.
I had a flight coming back
At
from
the beginning.
London to Dallas one time, and the headwinds were so bad it took almost 15 hours to get
Jeez.
back from London, and somehow I managed to sleep for almost all of it. I think I woke up for
Wow.
an hour in the middle.
That's awesome.
No pills or anything. Just I can sleep, man. I can sleep.
I want to say my flight back from from France after the DAT show, I slept a fair amount.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You got to bring something to do, man. You bring in a Switch or anything like that.
I don't.
So you can.
Well, I've got a book I'm gonna finish. I plan on finishing. I'm a third, maybe over a third of the way done with it, and that'll get me through at least 5 or 6 hours, maybe.
You have a laptop. Get that new Houdini update and
Yeah, right.
start learning.
I
You'll
do
learn a lot.
have
You'll
a
learn
laptop.
at least
I'm
one.
bringing my laptop because we gotta do karaoke on it.
Well, yeah.
So
You'll learn at least
karaoke's gonna be fun.
one new feature
One
of
node.
Houdini in those
Yeah.
15 hours.
It's funny. Remember how when we were talking to Noseman, a while ago when Houdini was kind of coming up on the scene, and he's like, Houdini is not one of those things like cinema or After Effects where you slowly make steps. Houdini is one of those things where it's like a ladder. You a really
Oh, yeah.
tall ladder, or stories. You finally climb your way up to that first story, and then you're like, okay, I've made it this far.
Yeah.
I understand. It's like you make through little tiny bits, you make big strides, but it takes a while.
I think that applies to a lot of things, but I think that the Houdini ladder is just taller.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I've done that in everything my whole life. Photoshop, cinema, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what it is. You learn a little bit at a time. And you're like, okay, I've made it to the next level.
Yeah.
Now what do I do?
The hardest part is repetition because I'm so
Yeah.
often in After Effects. You give me anything in After Effects, I can do it. I believe 100% that I understand After Effects like 90%. 90% of everything there is in After Effects. Cinema, I'm probably at about 75%, right? I know a fair amount about cinema, but man, Houdini, it's like I can get in there and I can do a few things, but I forget almost all the time, like, because with like particles or something like that, there's a specific way to work, and then like you've got your rate and you've got your collisions and you've got like different modifiers and stuff like that, and like in Houdini it's very similar, but you've got different places where each of those main things are, and it's like I can never remember where do you put the collisions and where do you do this. It's not simple like just drag and drop.
I think that really the people who do the best are the people who are doing lots of tests, right?
Yeah.
Like Vernon's doing a bunch of tests right now. He's doing a bunch of things to try things out. And the people who are doing not necessarily dailies, but that are just doing their own like personal, I'm going to learn this, and then I'm going to try doing it this way, and then they do another particle thing the next week. Because unless you're using it, you're losing it. So I think that's what makes it tough to learn. It's like I learned a lot of Nuke back in the day, and it just like I would leave it for a little bit and I would come back and I would forget how to do stuff, and that applies to just about everything. So that's why I feel like you've got to make your decision whether or not you're going to get in it. Even Unreal, right? Like I know I know enough to like kind of get around in Unreal, but then every time I stop using it for a while, I got to remember everything.
Yes, and that is 100% repetition. I can say I'm pretty comfortable in like just doing simple animations and bringing in stuff from Cinema to Unreal and doing texturing. I'm very comfortable in that realm. It's like, but once you start getting into blueprints and stuff like that, and the only reason, what's so funny is I didn't mean to get into Unreal. I just did. And it all was because I took Winbush's course on Mograph.com, like I took Winbush's course just to go over it and make sure that there was nothing wrong. Like I was just QCing the entire thing. Right. And because of that, I became an Unreal like person. It's like people knew.
Well, and you got gigs with it. And so those
I did,
gigs
and
it's like
people
going.
would pass me gigs. It's like, hey, can you do this? It's just simple like animation. And then I'd go back, I'd watch one, Winbush thing, and it's like, oh, okay, now I remember what to do,
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you do the repetition of that for 6 months because people think you're like this amazing Unreal artist, and it's like, I'm not really. I just know how to use the tools, Well, it's funny.
I've always felt like that about everything I do. I'm not really good at it. I'm just I'm just messing around. So, all right. One last headline before we go here. Now, this is some more AI stuff. Luma Dream Machine is bringing your memes to life, and this is good. This is good. I know there's another AI thing or whatever, but this is good. I have thrown a couple things at it today. Just to try out. The thing that was going around this week on the internet is that a lot of people were using it to animate memes, right? So they took some of the most popular memes, and you can see that this
That's
is
funny.
doing,
I never saw that one.
Yeah, it's doing a really good job.
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
It's not doing those weird things that a lot of them do, where things start turning into aliens and whatnot. It's actually working. It's actually getting proportions and faces and things right. And so, I've been trying some stuff with it. I threw a few photos in this morning, including one of Brodeur, his profile picture. But look at that. Now, my prompt here was that he winks at the camera and gives a thumbs up. They forgot the wink, but look, he's got the right amount of fingers. He's not super distorting.
That's impressive.
It is pretty impressive right there, what it is doing. And I got to say, like, for the first time, it's like, oh, this one is so much better and blah, blah, blah. It's like, right, but this one, I hate that word, game changer. Everybody's going to say it's a game changer, but this is where it's going. This is where it's going. Yeah. And I I've been working on my grandmother's memorial video, right? And I just took a few photos because you have limited access. So I took a few of the really old photos of like her at my mom and dad's wedding, you know, like in the 70s, and animating it. And it's just my mom and my grandma standing there in the photo, but I gave it no prompt, and it makes the two of them hug.
Aww.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like my mom is, I don't even know if I want to show my mom. She's going to cry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like bringing old things to life like that is crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of my grandpa, he died when he was like 96 or something, you know, and he liked technology, and he would get on like Facebook Live all the time, you know, and he would just tell stories. My grandpa was a big storyteller. And he always just loved telling stories. He loved archiving his stories, and he spent a lot of time like recording them to tapes and to digital and stuff like that. So I have this massive like archive of my grandpa's stories, and I would love to take them and just like, you know, put them into like an AI voice thing, and then send it off to all my family and or like, you know, have him say, oh, Matt's my favorite grandson out of all 86 of my grandkids.
Right.
Matt's my favorite one. The rest of y'all suck.
That's funny. Yeah, it's nuts.
So,
I'm looking at some of these. I got some other ones that are still in the queue right now, so I'm sort of waiting. But man, like
I think the more and more AI stuff I'm getting into, the more I'm like kind of blown away by some of the stuff. Like Runway ML and the rotoscoping just freaking killed me. It's like I wish I had thought of that days earlier when I was physically going through and rotoscoping people out.
But again,
you know,
you still got to charge your client right now for the full roto, because you don't know if it's necessarily going to work.
Right, I know.
If it does,
but
bonus,
if you don't quote them anything and they're just like, hey, I need you to do this, you know.
Well, hopefully you've quoted them.
Because I've got a few clients who are just like, hey, I need you to do this. You know, they generally know about what it's going to cost. And so like, if I'm going to spend, it's $15 a month for Runway ML. Like if I'm going to spend, you know.
And it has a lot of different use cases too.
It does, yeah. If I spend 15 minutes of my time, it's already paid for itself. It's if I spend 5 minutes, I can just immediately charge for that, you know?
Right.
I don't know. But I have found that like it's not just one tool does it all, you know? It is you're going to be using multiple tools for multiple things,
multiple subscriptions.
Lots of subscriptions, and it kind of sucks, because I'm almost at like $100 worth of a month worth of subscriptions of AI stuff, but like they're very useful. Runway ML is great for roto. Midjourney is great, especially now with creating photorealistic looking people and stuff like that. Like it's insane. It doesn't understand the prompts. Like the other day I was trying to get two people sitting at a conference table on opposite sides, you know, but it kept putting them right next to each other. And it's like, I don't know how to explain to you that I need them to be on opposite sides of the thing. You know, no matter how many times I would rerun it, I'd maybe get one out of every 15 that would do it correctly. Yeah. You know, it's like, but then the ones that you get out of Midjourney are just kind of like the skin you can see is just kind of weird and like all this other stuff. But then you take it over to Magnific AI, and Magnific AI adds in all that detail.
All the detail, yeah.
It is insanely cool. Like it's like you can, and it upreses it too. So you've got like a 7K image now from Midjourney with all this extra detail, you know, and then you just Photoshop out the stuff. Like there was this one where the girl was smiling and she was really happy, right? And then I threw into Magnific and she was like, it turned it into like a grimace.
She also had
you just
15
Photoshop out
fingers.
the face, you know, with the original, and it looked good. It looked good, you know.
Stills,
but it's like I think I think what's going to happen is you're going to get like an Adobe or OpenAI or something like that, who is going to be able to incorporate all of these things into one place, and that becomes the new subscription. You know,
for sure, it'll get there. It'll get there. Or I mean, there's going to be some that really excel, and I think probably what will happen too is a lot of these companies are probably positioning themselves this way on purpose to get purchased. You know, it's like once you become really good at like taking a photo and a prompt and turning it into like a legit animation with no errors in it whatsoever or anything, Adobe's gonna be like, hey, can we give you some money?
Honestly, like, I mean, the Runway ML, you know, rotoscoping stuff, it's like that got me 95% of the way there. I'm gonna have to do very little work,
right?
You know, with it, and that's pretty awesome.
And a lot of these services spit out like a alpha, and or some of them will give you like a project file. You know,
I can 100% see. Like I could see Adobe buying Runway ML just because of that stuff. But like you've got some of these other AI companies who are trying to work in like After Effects plugins and stuff. Like Topaz came out with an After Effects plugin, and it's awful in comparison with using the native software. Like it just does not work well, you know. And then you've got some of these other ones. It's just meh. It's just not that great.
Yeah.
It's like when you've got to work within the Adobe system of work, you know, After Effects. That's why Cinema 4D Lite or, you know, Mocha AE for AE exists, because they're these external programs, you know. So
I don't understand why I can't have Mocha and AE open at the same time still.
Yeah, I know.
It's so frustrating. I just need to go back and forth real quick. Why do you make me do this?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I love Mocha.
Mocha's
AE.
great.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like once you wrap, I mean it. At the very beginning, it took me a while to wrap my head around, but once you did, it's like, oh, okay, rotoscoping's easy. You know, it's time consuming, but it's easy. It's so much easier to do it in Mocha than it is in After Effects.
Oh, that's for sure.
I wish there was something like C4D Lite. You know, I wish there was something in C4D Lite that made people want to go to it, you know, like Mocha AE does.
I see what you mean.
You know, like
but
one of those game changer things where it's like, oh, I'm not going to use After Effects for this. I'm going to go into that. You know.
Yeah. Does that really sell people on the full version of Mocha though? Because I don't know a lot of people.
I was curious about that too. I mean, I like Boris effects, but I don't need to buy it for anything more. Although I'm sure there's amazing stuff, you know.
Yeah, there is. It's just like I don't know. I'm not big enough into Roto to ever go to the full version of Mocha. I just need to get some basic tracks done.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think Boris just released the new Silhouette. You know, the new version of Silhouette that's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's do a poll follow-up. Let's see if anybody has done this poll yet. Looks like they have. I'm going to refresh just to make sure. If anybody else wants to get your vote in, we only had a few people so far. Overwhelmingly, no, they shouldn't have the right to ban DJI, but I don't feel like that's a surprise, really. It's not really a surprise at all. So I was just trying to get a... and I honestly, like, with people who say yes, I would like to know what their reasoning is behind that. Honestly,
I said yes. That one was me.
You said they should have the right.
I mean, the government has the right to do whatever they want.
No,
you know,
they should have the right.
Is it morally okay?
Not do they have the right?
I don't know.
Should they have the right?
The government should have the right to do whatever they want, but within limitations.
Well, then your answer is no.
Like, I don't know.
Should they have the right to stop your... What if they said today, sorry, we're banning RAM.
Yes, but like...
all RAM that was made in China, and all of a sudden your computer can't work anymore.
The thing is, you're talking about a very specific case of DJI, right? Should they be able to ban it? You know, if something came out, let me ask you this. If something came out that China or another country or something like that, or even DJI itself, was maliciously including software or something that allowed for this.
But there's no evidence.
No, let me just say, should the United States ban it?
If there's evidence of a crime, then it should be taken care of. But if today they said for no reason other than suspicious, we're getting rid of, we're not allowing NVIDIA cards to be used in anything anymore.
Right.
You can't,
I get it.
And we're going to remotely disable them, and we're going to fine you and send you to jail if you use an NVIDIA card. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, everything that I own is disabled now, and I'm going to have to go find, first of all, get new cards from someone else, and then buy a different render engine.
Yeah.
Because
they're probably just waiting for the DJI lobbyists to like pay them money or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, let's find out who has a bunch
of
money who isn't lobbying for them yet.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Should it's a matter of if there's evidence of something. If I found out that my NVIDIA cards had microphones in them and they were somehow mining my data and they were sending it to people, that's a different story. But there's zero evidence.
You're asking, should
this
they be able to? Should they be able to?
Stuff.
Yes, they should be able to. If they're, should they? Is there reason to believe that there is? No. So should they do it? No, they shouldn't
without
do it. But
probable
should they
cause.
have the ability to? Yes,
I'll say asterisk this poll without probable cause.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, because there has to be
you just
probable
change the
cause.
poll now. I can't change my vote.
You can change your vote if you want.
Just joking.
But there needs to be probable cause for anything like that,
I agree.
Right? You can't just
have
no due process at all.
Yeah.
Especially when people are spending money on this. They're spending their hard-earned. Then isn't that going to?
People are basing their entire careers around this. You know, their entire businesses around stuff like this.
Right,
Yeah.
And there's even police departments that are upset about this because they use it for search and rescue.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, and we're not going to be able to use them now. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to have to, and whose taxes are going to pay for the new, more expensive, less useful drones that they're going to have to replace them with, right?
Right.
That's the part that doesn't make any sense. When you've got the end user consumer spending the money, how is their confidence going to be about buying something else after that? Is this a thing where we're going to have a rule now we have to buy things made in America?
An actual like, oh yeah. Shenzhen DJI Sciences and Technology. What do you know?
So yeah,
their headquarters looks like Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
I have no idea what that is.
It's from Phineas and Ferb.
Oh. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Just a reminder, though, that next week there is no show because Matt's going to be upside down, right?
Bye.
He's going to be upside down and doing things.
I don't even know where my bell is.
Your bell.
My kid stole my bell.
There you go.
All right.
Gotta go find your bell. And, yeah. I don't know. No show next week. Check us out on Mograph.com, Mograph.com/TV. Check out our YouTube, our TikTok, our Instagrams, our shorts, all of the things. That's all I got. Anything else?
Come join Mograph.com, the new Mograph.com site. Upload your demo reel, your projects, show off all your stuff. If you don't want to be, scraped by the AI, you can post your stuff there. Have conversations, get likes, find meetup groups, join meetup groups, post jobs, find jobs, all the stuff that you need to do as an artist.
All right. Well, good luck in Australia. Until next time,
Thanks.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
It's pretty good, I guess. Introducing Mograph TV from Mograph.com, a free motion graphics and animation channel streaming your favorite content and favorite artists 24/7. Mograph TV features motion graphics tutorials, talks, tips, inspiration, and replays of popular live shows. We offer something for all levels of designer, from introductory tutorials to high-level breakdowns and everything in between.
That track looks great to me.
Mograph TV features software like Cinema 4D, After Effects, Unreal Engine,
What up?
third-party plugins, and other 2D and 3D software. We also feature live motion events, short-form clips, crypto art, and even a little photo and video editing. Learn from the people that inspire you most, and stay up to date on all the latest industry news, announcements, and community events. You'll also see exclusive offers only available by watching. With 3 8-hour blocks each day, you'll be sure to catch everything, no matter what your time zone. Keep it on as a companion to your workday and learn something new. Meet a friend, watch a demo, catch a classic tutorial, or even find new inspiration.
That's a British word?
A lot of things are British words.
Yes, good luck with all your projects.
Mograph TV, television for the design community, 24/7.